Hi there, Total Wellbeing Tribe. It's Anna McKinley here. Thanks so much for joining me. And wow, we had an amazing weekend. I would say momentous weekend here in New Zealand. It was our general election and quite a historic one for a couple of reasons. I mean, it's the first time in New Zealand that we've actually had two women challenging or competing for the position of leader of our country, which is pretty cool. But on top of that, our Labour Party, led by Jacinda Ardern, accomplished a really amazing result. It's been called a landslide and a bit of a record-breaking result in winning the election. And I mean, wherever one sits on the political spectrum, I think it's fair to say that that was quite an amazing result. And it got me thinking, I'm not a political analyst myself. I'm not going to get into any of that stuff, but I am an avid student of human performance and of what it is that underpins accomplishment. And I find Jacinda Ardern quite instructive in that from that perspective, because she puts me in mind of some really key principles that any of us can apply in accomplishing anything that we want to accomplish in life. And there's one in particular that I want to talk with you about today because it's really a powerful success principle. It probably is the magic bullet for success in a lot of ways. And it's a very counterintuitive approach. I kind of think of it as the fundamental little known secret to accomplishing anything that you want. Do you want to know what it is? Here goes. It is the art of letting go. And what I mean by that, it's the art of letting go of our attachment to the outcome that we want. Told you it would be counterintuitive. And it's like, well, what does that actually mean, letting go of our attachment to the outcome that we want? And why would we want to do that if we really want it? So I'm going to talk to you about those things. What it means in practice is that, well, if we truly desire something, an outcome or a goal or something that we want to accomplish in our lives, this art is about, yes, getting absolutely clear about what that outcome is, being specific with it, connecting with it, enjoying the idea of it, getting excited about it, but then letting go, taking our focus off that outcome. It sounds very counterintuitive, doesn't it? How can we accomplish the outcome if we're not focused on it? But let me explain. One of the biggest mistakes that most people make when setting and trying to achieve a goal is staying focused on the goal. And I know this goes against a lot of things that we hear from, gurus and success mentors. Set a goal, stay focused. Focus is the key. That's absolutely true. Focus is the key, but focus on what? Right? We might ask ourselves, well, how can it be a mistake to stay focused on our goal? But here's the thing. It's absolutely important to have a clear direction and destination, to be moving towards a desire that's personally meaningful, that's motivating, that we're committed to. Absolutely, absolutely fundamental. But let me ask you, have you ever seen someone walk into a lamppost? You know, we've seen it. Personal admission, I've actually done that on a few occasions when I was younger. Or maybe you've seen someone step onto the street to cross the road in front of oncoming traffic. Why would they do that? It's because those people are not focused on the task in front of them. They're so focused on where they're going to that they're not looking and not seeing what's right in front of their noses. Another example is the statistic that a disproportionately high number of traffic accidents occur close to home. Why is that? It's because the driver's attention is on the goal, on what I'm going to do when I get home. What's my next task? What am I going to cook for dinner? Whatever it is, rather than on the task at hand, which is driving safely and keeping an eye on the road. So how does this principle of letting go of the outcome really translate in practice? That there are two significant traps that we fall into if we keep our focus on the goal. And either one of these traps will cause us to fail. Trap number one is if we stay focused on the goal, then our very, very strong tendency is actually not to focus on the goal. What our tendency is to do is to focus on the difference between where we're at and the goal. We focus on the fact that we don't actually have the goal yet, that we're not enjoying that outcome yet, and we compare where we are with where we want to be. So what are we really focused on? We're focused on the gap. We're focused on the lack of the thing that we want. And because, and this is a fundamental truth of the way that we work as human beings, what we focus on expands. If we're focused on the lack of what we want, what we get more of is the lack of what we want. How does this translate in practice? Well, we end up thinking, speaking, and behaving in a way that reinforces our lack of the outcome that we want. That tends to translate into defensive thinking and action, acting out of the fear that we'll fail, talking ourselves out of doing things that will actually increase our chances of succeeding, of achieving the outcome, and, you guessed it, procrastination. When we're focused on the outcome instead of what's right in front of us, we tend to be less likely to innovate. We're less likely to look for out-of-the-box solutions and approaches. We're often less likely to collaborate, and we're less able, have less resilience to be able to keep picking ourselves up and keeping moving forward when things don't go as planned. That's the first trap. And you can see how that can actually, in fact, just listening to this, I'm sure you're thinking of how you've seen this playing out in life, not just yours, but I'm sure you've seen other people show signs of this. But the second trap is, in a way, even more fundamental. And that is that if we focus our attention on the outcome, and our attention is focused on the outcome, then our attention is not on what's right in front of us. Remember again the lampposts, stepping out in front of traffic, having that praying with our vehicle on the way home, because our attention is not on what's right in front of us. So what does that mean? It means in practice that even if we are doing the steps to get us towards the goal, we're not doing that to the best of our ability. We're not doing those steps as effectively as we can because our attention is not fully on them. Focus is the key, but the key is not focusing on the destination. It's focusing 100% on doing the best that we can in the task or activity that is right in front of us. So what do we do about it? Well, in order to achieve anything that we want in life, any significant or substantial goal or outcome that we desire, whether it's a project in our business or at work, whether it's a health outcome that we want to have, whether it's something else, we want our full attention to be on that most important next step, next activity that will move us towards what we want, and to do that step to the best of our ability. And then do the same for our next step and the next one and the next one. And that will get us to that outcome that we want much faster, much more effectively, and much, much more successfully than otherwise. And it also creates the foundation for a much greater sense of accomplishment, which is more satisfying, more fulfilling, more motivating than just continually striving for something that's not yet within our reach. Don Miguel Ruiz, in his book, The Four Agreements, if you've read that, actually incorporates this art of letting go of the outcome and focusing on the task at hand in his fourth agreement, which he calls always do your best. It's about always show up and do the best that you're capable of in this moment in relation to the task or activity at hand. And to do that, we've got to take our mind off the outcome. We've got to let go of that. Set the goal, absolutely, but then let it go. So a couple of practical tips for putting this into practice. Absolutely set goals. 100%. Get clear about them. Get specific about them. Identify what it is about the goal that's motivating, that's exciting. Make sure that it is an achievable and realistic goal for you. Put dates around it. All of that stuff. Absolutely 100%. But the essential next step in practice is to then break that goal down into smaller chunks or targets or milestones. And then break those targets down into the baby steps. How? By asking yourself each day, what is the one thing that I can do today that will most directly take me to my next target? and then doing that with 100% focus to the best of your ability in that moment. And if you do that and you keep doing it, the results will absolutely astound you. So there you have it, the art of letting go. The counterintuitive, little known, and essential secret sauce to your success. Give it a try and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for showing up and for listening and for allowing me to share this concept with you. And you have an awesome day. Bye for now.